first, before that, we're going to start with another big name, Tom Brady. And, Rob, we were saying how you just heard David Gascon with the update say that the Miami Dolphins, he talked about the ruling against them and how the owner, Stephen Ross, has been fined $1.5 million, Rob, suspended until October 17th. He won't be able to go to the facility, won't be able to participate in any of the actions with the Dolphins, and they lose a first-round pick in this year's upcoming draft, 2023, and a third-round pick in 2024 for the tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. And remember, that was it was written about in a few places. It seemed like, is it really true? Seems like a mystery. I
remember that. Right.
A guy just cobbling together a few facts here and there and coming up with this scheme. Well, it was true. Good on those reporters who wrote about it. But, Rob, when they announced the suspension of Stephen Ross, the first thing that came to my mind was, why isn't Brady suspended?
Look at you, Chris. You sound like me. Unbelievable.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I mean, I like Tom Brady. I'll be the first to admit that. Everybody that listens to the show knows that. But I'm about objectivity. And
that's my middle name.
Whether it was 2 games, I would have even been fine with 1. Because honestly, Rob, I don't feel like this is a huge thing they're hitting the Dolphins with. I get it. Losing a first-round pick is tough. They still have a first-round pick. They got another first-round pick in the Trey Lance trade. So I get that that's big, a first-round pick. But still, I don't think it's, Stephen Ross, a $1.5 million fine, Rob. You think that's hurting him?
Chump change. Nothing.
Right. So even if it were 1 game, which is significant in a 17-game season, I would have been fine with that. But I don't know, they didn't give any explanation either as to why Brady didn't get it. It just said he wouldn't be suspended. I get in I think it was 2019, Rob, but he was playing with the Patriots. That was the first incident of tampering.
And we need to say that Stephen Ross is a Michigan grad.
Yes,
Brady went to Michigan, right. and they have a connection. There's a Stephen Ross business school at Michigan. He's given hundreds of millions of dollars to the school. He's a big Michigan guy. That's why people thought he was going to hire Jim Harbaugh.
So you could certainly argue that the first meeting when Brady was with the Patriots, he's just going to meet a fellow Michigan alum, Rob, like you said.
Yeah, but it's not when you're fraternizing with like there should be parameters. I get that they went to Michigan.
I mean, if Michael Jordan is at the same party with Carmelo Anthony,
no, that's not it wasn't that they met with each other. It's different between running into somebody.
What if they hang out? What if they're friends?
Yeah, I think.
Jordan's an owner. Jordan has players on other teams wearing his sneakers.
Yeah, but there is. You got to be careful with that. I understand that, and that's a slippery slope.
Yeah,
but
it's too slippery. You got to be careful. Free to be friends with who they want to be friends with. Just don't bring up, hey, we're gonna really scheme to get you to play for our team. That's not hard to do.
Well, but
it really isn't.
Okay, but then why is the NBA investigating the Brunson signing?
His
father works for the Knicks. Okay,
the NBA has admitted that they allow players to fraternize. Like you can't control it. They admit it. It's not something you can do. You can't limit LeBron James from hanging out with Chris Paul. They're friends, or Michael Jordan for that matter, who's an owner. So they understand that the reason they're investigating Jalen Brunson and then in turn P.J. Tucker is because before free agency even began, there were reports out there that they're going to sign with the Knicks and they're going to sign with Philadelphia and Harden's going to take less. It was ridiculous. It was just blatant. And then as soon as free agency happens, when guys sign, it's obvious that tampering went on. So that's different. I would say the first meeting, you could argue that it was just Brady didn't know Ross was going to start recruiting him. But the second time, he could say, look, if we meet, don't be bringing up all this mess. And it wasn't even just Ross. It was another guy in the organization who also was suspended, Bruce Beal, the vice chairman. So, but yeah, bottom line is, Rob, I thought Brady could have got a game, maybe two, but I don't know how he gets away scot-free.
Yeah, he's Teflon for the most part. The only time the league got him, which was shocking, was because he wouldn't cooperate on that. And I thought Brady brought that suspension on himself. If Brady would have stood up there that day, Chris, and said, blame me, it's my fault, I asked the ball boys to take some air out, but I didn't realize it was underneath the standard, Chris, I think most people would have believed that. I do.
Fine, but you don't think he would have got suspended?
No, I don't.
Why not?
Just
because you admit it doesn't
no, if he would have owned up to it, but he was suspended. He was suspended a lot, but a large part was because he was deceptive and wasn't cooperative in the NFL investigation. That was a big part of it.
But to say that just because you admit you did wrong, you're now no longer
no,
serve
I'm
a
saying the
punishment,
way people would have looked at him differently. Instead of saying, oh, I don't know the ball boy, but they have 100 text messages between each other, and he calls him the deflator and all the other stuff that came out. All I'm saying is, if you come clean, people could possibly give you the benefit of the doubt, is what I'm saying.
That's fine. People might view you differently, look at you differently. Maybe the suspension isn't as harsh or the punishment. But I don't think you get off just because you admitted it.
I'm talking about public opinion and how Brady
that's
looked.
Okay, but you said the suspension, so
yeah, I'm
that's
talking
different than public opinion.
That's what I'm talking about, and I don't think it would have been 4 games if Brady would have owned up to it.
It would have been a suspension.
I don't know.
Why not?
I don't know, because Brady had never been.
Just because you admit you still did wrong.
Bill Belichick didn't get suspended, Chris. He got a heavy fine. Yes.
Did he admit it?
Yes, he did. He got a fine. He didn't get suspended.
That's still a punishment.
No, but it could have been a fine for Brady. You can't do this. That's what I'm
still a punishment. My point
but my point is it wasn't automatic that it'd be a suspension.
But
Bill Belichick got fined $500,000. The highest fine for any coach.
But it's automatic that it'd be a punishment.
He could have been suspended. My point is, I thought that Brady, knowing the Stephen Ross situation and going into that, didn't think they were going to be friendly or going to play around a golf or go watch a Michigan football game, that he kind of knew what was going on, and I think that's why he's culpable. I do believe that he knew Stephen Ross was interested in him because he had done it before.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, again, that even the first time he may have known, but you could certainly make the argument he didn't. Like you said, maybe he thought it was just, we're getting together, both went to Michigan, it's all good. But when you do it a second time, and like I said, he was getting together with Bruce Beal, not always Stephen Ross, but still, that, Rob, would make it even more so, right? Why are you getting together with him? You know? And
right.
So I agree.
You don't have any relationship with him from that standpoint, right?
Right. So that makes it seem even more. I just think, like I said, a game, and that would be if it were 2 games, that would be significant in a 17-game season. The Buccaneers, I certainly believe they're going to be very good, but 2 games is big in a tight playoff race. And that, if they were to lose those 2 games, had he been suspended, it would have been significant. Obviously, the league probably didn't want anything to do with that, Rob, but still, it just doesn't seem fair. That's my point. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but
no.
I think he should have got something.
I just don't understand. The NFL's all over the place, Chris. Their punishments don't really fit. It's like one thing over here is like the end of the world. One guy made a $1,000 bet. He's got to miss the entire season.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Seriously, he didn't make a $100,000 bet and then miss 4 balls in the end zone. Okay. Now that guy, Chris, I'm throwing out the league. Am I right?
Right. Right. Absolutely.
If I see that you made a $100,000 bet and you missed a touchdown or a couple of passes,
wide open drops,
and then
tackles,
or something like that,
yeah,
then I'm going to say something's fishy here. But I don't know. I think they're all over the place. But Brady should know better. And I don't know, did the league put out a warning to players like you got to be above board on these meetings? Because what was the other one with? Was it Mark Cuban? What was there an NBA where owner? I'm trying to remember, Chris. There was some incident
or tampering.
Yeah, was it an owner or when Magic said something about a player on television?
Oh yeah,
remember
Magic
that was
said.
Was it about LeBron?
Was the player? He was on
Anthony
TV.
Davis. Anthony Davis.
He was on TV, and LeBron got fined. Remember, I think $50,000.
Right.
For saying something about Anthony Davis. Just who wouldn't love to play with him?
Just saying something. Right.
Right.
Like that ain't even like a meeting.
Right. I agree. I mean, and the stories, Rob, and look, they've been right. So you would assume they were right about this part. The stories are that Tom Brady retired from the Buccaneers
to go to Miami.
Planning to go to Miami as an owner, but then he was going to give up his ownership and play for Sean Payton. Like, those were what the stories were saying.
No, that was it, right.
And so, again, and I'm not calling for 4 games. 2. I think 2, Rob. And again, I would have even 1 would have been fine. But this just acts like he did nothing wrong.
I would have had him suspended for 1 game, and then he'd have to play 1 game with an overinflated football as penalty. No?
No. Don't use that in your stand-up, especially not at 275 Park in New York City.
Look at that. I'm planning.